Hi again folks, how you all doing? This is a Dapol Class 121/122 rail car that was sent to me by Adrian. He told me that he thinks one of the bogies has lost its drive. Let's turn on the power and see what happens. Well, the motor is spinning, but the locomotive is struggling to move. Kind of looks like another driveshaft problem, like the 108 I just worked on. But let's get it into the shed and we'll have a wee look. Alrighty-ho then, a Dapol Class 121 rail car. I like a rail car. This looks quite nice actually. And yeah, I'd imagine the problem is similar to the Class 108 I looked at recently. We've got a drive shaft that's popped out, but it might be broken. Who knows? Let's just touch a battery on these wheels and see what happens. Yeah, these ones are turning. So yeah, these wheels turn, these ones don't. This must just open up with clips. We'll get the cocktail sticks in. Right, so I'm going to lift out at that. Yep. Nice and easy. Kind of looks like we've got interior lighting on this. Those look like little LEDs. And there's little switches at either end. And we've got 4 screws, so we'll undo these and get these seats out. What is the problem with this? Suspense is killing me. Right, that lifts off. But yeah, it's essentially mounted motor. We've got the DCC hoojimadoojery there. So we've got 21 pin DCC decoder fitted. It's obviously got DC running enabled. We've got switches there for lighting, rear lighting and interior lighting. We've got the motor, switch for front lighting, and then the front bogie. So you can just make out the drive shaft there. You can see it is connected, but when the wheels spin, the drive shaft is turning, but the worm gear isn't. So we need to get this out and see what's going on, which looks easy enough. We'll undo that screw and I think it'll drop out. Question is how much slack do we have in the wires? Probably not very much. We'll undo this screw and see what happens. Right, okay. Yeah, these wires are soldered on and I've not got much to play with unless this comes out. There's 2 little screws on here. If I undo, they're attached as well. So these wires are soldered to the pickups, which appear to be screwed on. Alright, we'll see if we can get this gearbox cover off. That's it. That lifts out. And the problem is, get this out, that. So that fits onto the end of the drive shaft. That's pretty poor. So the drive shaft is a metal rod that fits onto. And the metal rod is just spinning inside that. I mean, that's a bit rubbish, to be honest. Normally the drive shaft and these parts are all one piece, you know, it's just all one plastic moulding. but having that separate is just a very obvious point of failure. See, I really thought the problem was the likely to be the drive cup, because it's a push fit onto the shaft for the worm gear, and I've seen that often enough when these are split and it just spins. But no, it's that. So I think we have to clean the end of that rod up, clean that up, and fit it back on. And the only thing I can think to do is to glue it. Right, that unclips from there. We've got, including the drive gears, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gears, and the intermediate gear. So that's 8 plus the worm gear. 9 gears in each bogie. But we should be able to... Oh, wow, these are tight. There we go. Get these axles out now. And then that pickup comes off, and we can get this out altogether. So this isn't wiggling about and at risk of breaking the wires. So you can see the end of the drive shaft there, and that fits onto the end of it. Right, I'm going to just give the end of that drive shaft a bit of a wipe with some contact cleaner, just to degrease it, and then we'll give this a wee scoosh out, again just to degrease it. We'll let that evaporate off, and we'll try gluing that on. But yeah, it's not a good idea having that as a separate part at all. I'll bet you an awful lot of these have suffered this failure. Okay, so this is actually the next day. I stopped working on this yesterday because I thought if one of those little plastic ends has come off, the end of the drive shaft, the one at the other end is possibly going to be working loose as well, and it's the same with the other drive shaft at the other end of the locomotive. So I thought, really, I should take the drive shafts out altogether and make sure that they're all glued up. So it's, I decided to leave it yesterday because I couldn't face taking this apart, and I was a bit busy with other things as well. So we'll get the drive shafts out of this. To do that, I'm going to have to loosen this circuit board. I pulled this drive shaft out, and actually the little end on this end, the motor end, fell off, or fell out anyway, so it must have been very loose. So yeah, I'm doing the right thing here and taking the drive shafts out altogether, because the chances are they're loose here as well. It's a terrible, terrible design, which is such a shame because it's a nice model otherwise, but just absolutely bonkers, that idea of having separate ends on the drive shaft like that. So I think we'll get this circuit board loosened. There's a screw there and a screw there, and then I think it will just lift off, but there's lots of wee wires attached, so we'll need to watch what we're doing. Let's put these aside just now so they don't get lost. I mean, the model's nice and clean otherwise, it doesn't really need anything done to it. You can just get these drive shafts sorted, it'll be fine, I think. I did a bit of Googling on this model, and yes, it's a common problem. Wow. Right, okay. And some people have replaced these drive shafts, but I couldn't see any available replacements. But other people have glued them, but the chances are they will fail again. Right, there's the other drive shaft out. And yeah, that's loose. This is that one. So we'll glue them up. So we'll just scratch the ends of these rods with the sandpaper. It should just make the super glue stick a bit more. I did consider using metal epoxy. Loctite 603 is only for metal to metal, and this is metal to plastic. So I think super glue will be fine. So the super glue I'm using just now is Paisley super glue. Seems to be quite good stuff. And so far, this bottle has never clogged up. Just put some onto a cocktail stick. Put some on the end of that. We'll do one at a time. Push that on. It's really much easier doing this with the drive shafts out than trying to do it in situ in the model. Okay, there's that one done. Okay, we're glued on. So I'm going to leave these for an hour or so just to let the super glue set properly. I mean, super glue sets very quickly, but it's always a good idea just to leave it an hour or so to really harden up. Especially on an application like this. We don't want these to fail. But this stuff's pretty good, so hopefully that'll resolve this. So yeah, I googled the model, and lots of people have had this problem with these wee drive shafts. They're just it's just rubbish. But other people have had problems with this model derailing, and also it seems to run very slow and has quite a high current draw. But we shall see. We'll see what it's like. If it runs slow, there's probably not much I can do about that. But yeah, not Dapol's finest. Right, I'm going to go and get some lunch, take the dogs out, and then I'll come back and get this back together and see how it goes. Okay, so lunch had, dogs walked, biscuits consumed. Let's get this back together. First thing I want to do is put this bogie here back together. Didn't really need to take it apart, but initially I thought it was just that one drive shaft that was the problem. Not all of them. Okay, so those pickups on. Now, get the wheels in. Got to make sure the bearings engage with those pickups. Right, okay, now then. So that's engaged at the motor end. Now we've got to get it in to there. There we go. It wasn't too bad. Does this motor lift? Yes, it does. Yeah, do it that way. Do it that way. It's always the same in models like these. It's a bit of a learning process. You could take the drive shafts out of these without removing the bogies. You just have to lift the motor. It's actually very simple. But yeah, I've gone about it the hard way. But if I was to do it again, you just lift the motor and the drive shafts will come out. So I've made a bit of a meal of this, but there you go. You live and learn. It was good to get a look inside the bogies anyway, just to see what sort of condition they were in. But they're absolutely fine. Now that's out, I can get the drive shaft into the front, It's easier doing it that way because I can't see what I'm doing. And then lift the motor. There we go. There we are. That's turning that worm gear, and it's turning that worm gear. So we'll screw down this circuit board. But fingers crossed. That's it. We're done. Okay, turn on the power. Oh yeah, it is very slow. It's pulling about 250, 300 milliamps. So yeah, it is a bit on the slow side, and it does pull a fair bit of current, but I think that's just the way it is. You know, as I say, I've Googled this, and lots of people complain about the same issue, so it's just the way the model is. I don't mind models being kind of slow. My concern would be for all the circuitry with such a current draw, but you know, I think if it doesn't go above 500 milliamps, it'll be okay. So 300s, yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, I just think that motor's possibly a little bit underpowered, but we'll see. So you want to make sure that there's a bit of play in the bogies. Nothing's too tight. All seems fine, right? Okay, let's get these get this interior in. Actually, before I do that, let's put some gear oil in the worm gears. It's all very clean and nicely lubricated, but good idea to give it a dollop of gear oil. So there we go, that's the drive shaft sorted on this Dapol Class 121. Let's pull it out of the shed. Right, so there is Adrian's Dapol Class 121 sorted out with glued driveshaft ends. It's yeah, it's quite a slow runner, which I think is mostly due to the way it's geared, but it does seem to be speeding up with running, so it maybe needs a bit of a run in, or it's just one of those models that speeds up as it warms up. It's also a wee bit growly sounding on curves, which isn't unusual with some models with twin drive shafts, and it's pulling about 300 milliamps, which again I've seen on other similarly configured models like some Hellions. How long those glued drive shafts will last is anyone's guess. Dapol really should have had some sort of recall on these to have them replaced free of charge. I'd stay well clear of these if I was you. Nice looking model though, and it is running nice and smoothly. Personally, I'd switch the cab lighting off, but there you go. Anyway, I shall get this packed up and sent back to Adrian. Catch you later, folks.